You have found what lights you up. I'm your host, Sunny the Life Coach, and I'm here because I see you searching for something or someone out there to help you feel better. Something to take away the pain that you're feeling, the inadequacies. I know all of the things that happen in life can leave you feeling empty. Your search is over. This podcast is all about finding your own freedom and power to love yourself enough to shine in the ways you were always meant to, the ways in which you are already fully capable of. If you're ready for some real talk, some serious truth bombs, and a few F-bombs, you are in the right place. Let's do this. Let's get lit. Hey there, welcome to episode 13. The other morning, I had an interesting dream that served as inspiration for this topic. I think it's definitely something that I need to talk about with you because it comes up for a lot of us. What you're really afraid of. I knew it was morning because there were heavy thunderstorms rolling through that woke me up around 4 a.m., but I fell back asleep pretty easily because I love a good storm to sleep to. In fact, if I can schedule an afternoon nap on the weekends, I listen to recordings of thunderstorms. Fun fact. Seriously. I'll set the stage for this dream I had as some kind of office party. It seemed to be a holiday celebration, but of course, as dreams do, it gets a little weird. I didn't really recognize more than a few of the people in my dream. I don't work in an office environment anymore, but this wasn't any environment I'd ever been in, nor did I really know anyone. And it seemed like it was current times too, because I remember talking with someone about how I'd been working remotely for the past 3 months. So there were a lot of people that I hadn't met yet for that reason. There was that. There was also the scene where we're all packed in a room pretty closely. I recognized 2 girls I went to high school with, just random girls that I never really had any experiences with, and one girl that I did used to work with that I owe a follow-up on a recommendation request, so perhaps that's why she showed up. As office parties sometimes go, there were leaders identifying activities that we should participate in. One was to find someone and tell them something beautiful or wonderful about them. And that was cool, but someone you didn't already know. Well, I didn't know pretty much anyone, so that part was easy enough. Then there was some kind of dance move. Something completely weird and off the wall that everyone had to do. And everyone was getting on board with it because that's what we humans do, right? We don't want to rock the boat. We want to be admired or at the very least remembered by our peers and especially our superiors. And of course, it was the managers among us who were leading this required dance. I don't know who they were in my dream, but I knew these characters had authority. I said to myself, I'm not gonna do that. Nope, dumb. I'm not an improv dancer. I have to study and learn first. There's no time for that. Nope, nope, nope. I made my way instead over to the cash bar. But there was a table next to it where this girl, I'd never seen before, had brought her own bottle of tequila. And it was my brand. I was like, hey, we should be friends. Because, tequila pairs with stupid dance moves in public. I mean, really. And I didn't drink the tequila. I just admired it and made a little conversation about it. I thought about it for just a second, maybe just a shot. Now, here's the most interesting part. I'm still in my dream right now. After the dreadful dancing part was over, I spent the rest of my time at that party floating around from person to person, explaining myself, justifying the fact that I hadn't participated. And I was saying things like, Listen, it's not that I was afraid to be embarrassed or judged or anything like that. I just don't dance on demand. That's just not who I am. I might have even suggested it was a form of exploitation to even request such a thing of any of us. I was politicking hard, y'all. I was explaining myself over and over, defending myself. No one asked me. No one said anything to me. It was just a sense of, now I just want you to know, here are my reasons for not participating. No one really reacted to my stories either. They just all kind of shrugged, nodded, whatever. And that's when I woke up. Now, I'm not going to get into dream analysis beyond that was an interesting scene all around. My history with needing some liquid courage in order to look like a fool and be okay with it, I didn't even have any. Instead, I stayed sober and spent my energy explaining myself. It does seem that I've been having these conversations more often lately, the things that we're afraid to do. Certainly, those things in person are the most intimidating of all, but some of us are even afraid to do things online. Perhaps it's because of our heightened awareness of all of the keyboard warriors out there, the people who won't give a second thought to telling you exactly what they think. Why is that? Why are we afraid of what other people think? Interesting. You know, there are some cultures that pride themselves on being upfront, honest, and direct. It actually ends up forming a sense of trust between people. If someone is willing to look you in the eye and say what's really on their mind, even if that saying is, "That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard," or "Your dance moves are ridiculous," there's a mutual respect for that. And the response is typically, "Okay, whatever, moving on. Thanks for letting me know your thoughts." We certainly don't do that in the US. Somewhere along the lines, we introduced this political correctness concept into our society that comes with its own unwritten rules of general conduct and behavior. Whatever you do, don't say or do dumb and stupid things, because you may be judged by your peers and superiors. The reason why this is problematic for humans is that it's built into our basic instinct, embedded deep into our primitive brains, that acceptance equates to survival. Back in the day, we had to have that. We had to have acceptance of the rest of the tribe in order to stay alive. There is strength in numbers. Being banished for doing something wrong would mean certain death. You wouldn't be able to survive the elements, the predators, the perils of life without the strength of your community, the tools, the shelters that were available within the group itself. That is where our people-pleasing instinct comes from. It's in our programming. Knowing this, are you really afraid that you'll be banished from your tribe or your community for not participating in a silly dance that was just demonstrated to you? In my dream, clearly I was. That's why I put the rest of my time and energy into defending myself, into working to anticipate or assume what everyone else must be thinking, and work to combat those thoughts. My recollection is that everyone just nodded or shrugged or looked the other way and didn't really engage. Yeah, okay. No one said, "Well, you know you just fucked up and you'll probably have no future after this." Because again, we don't really say what's on our minds. We just nod, shrug, look away. That's what we think the equivalent of being banished from our community would be. Losing our job because of office politics, for not being a team player, losing our friends because we said the wrong thing, or didn't say the right thing, or didn't behave in just the way that we think was expected of us, losing potential clients because we didn't frame our position in just the right way, losing relationships, even losing the potential of having a relationship stings. I've talked before about how we have absolutely no control over what other people do or say, and we certainly have no power over what they think of us. So why do we put so much time and energy into trying to do just that? Anticipating or preparing for the most negative reaction, preparing for the worst case scenario. What is that for you? Losing your job, losing your home, losing friendships? Where does your mind go? What does that spiral look like that keeps you stuck in a place of inaction, a place of fear? Fear of being judged, fear of being mocked, fear of being embarrassed. Let's talk about judgment. It's something we think that others place upon us. In reality, it's just a thought that we have. If what other people think is none of our business, and really it is not, it comes back to what we think of ourselves. If we think we are being judged by others, and the rationale behind that is because they spoke or wrote words and sentences that we then interpret to make that mean something about us, our thoughts create those feelings that we're so afraid of. Humiliation, embarrassment, rejection, shame. That is what we're really afraid of. We're afraid of feeling negative emotion. Because any of those things that I listed may in fact happen. Those are circumstances. They are neutral. Losing your job, your home, a relationship, or several that you have determined are very important to you, none of those things mean anything about you or your worth as a human, not until you have thoughts about them. Listen, every one of those things have happened to me and I'm okay, I think. Some of these things may have happened to you, maybe more than once, and you're okay. You may not believe that yet, but you are, because you're still here and still living your human experience. That is something to be celebrated, the experience of being human. We don't do that often enough. Many of us think that the worst that can happen is death. Well, you won't be having feelings after you're dead, so the fear will no longer exist. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with fearing death. This is not about right or wrong. There really is no right or wrong way to feel. It's all your experience. Certainly, some consider it a good thing to evaluate risks and protect our livelihood. Some of us might even take that to extremes in order to feel protected, to feel safe. You can be afraid of death. I personally choose not to be. I love the phrase, "my death will find me living." It isn't something I think of often, even in these current times when it's practically in our face daily and we're being told that if we want to experience any kind of social environment, that it needs to be at a distance and we need to wear a mask over our mouth and nose so we don't catch anything bad. Even these days, I don't think about death. What I think about is, what are the protocols of this establishment so I can go in? What is the new normal today? It's not dying I'm ever considering. Mark Manson wrote of the accidental death of his friend when he was 19. He was devastated and grief-stricken, and he had to work through that. Pondered why he was even here, as we all do from time to time, and especially after such a loss. He shut down for a bit, something I know well. He said, "I came to the startling realization that if there really is no reason to do anything, then there is also no reason not to do anything. That in the face of the inevitability of death, there is no reason to ever give in to one's fear or embarrassment or shame, since it's all just a bunch of nothing anyway. And that by spending the majority of my short life avoiding what was painful and uncomfortable, I had essentially been avoiding being alive at all." Yes, there's fully feeling those negative emotions. That can sometimes feel as if we're dying based on imagination, because the emotional pain is so deep, because the sensations that accompany those feelings are so damn uncomfortable. Nope, I'd rather not feel uncomfortable. I'd rather not have this surgery without sedation, thank you. Where's the tequila? This is what we're really afraid of, really and truly feeling the emotions. I have said that I am a master expert at self-loathing, and that I've also been a master expert at pain avoidance, trying to dodge emotional pain and the physical sensations in your body that come along with it. Busying yourself or distracting yourself from anything related to facing that fear, the fear of feeling inadequate, unprepared, unlovable, unworthy. No, it's not the fear of failing that we work so hard to avoid by not dancing like no one's watching when clearly a room full of people are, or fear of fumbling that speech in front of a large audience, or not having crafted the perfect slideshow to go along with it, or how many people are going to see that Facebook Live video and comment for the world to see that you have no idea what you're doing. It's not fear of failing, but fear of feeling whatever emotion comes along with what we've come to define as failures, that, by the way, are really just learning experiences. It's not fear of upsetting someone else, though we certainly think that it is. The truth is, we do not have that kind of power over another human, though we like to think that we do. If how the human brain works through generating our own emotions with our own thoughts, then this must be true for everyone. Well, it is, but not everyone has awareness of this. So we go through life avoiding experiences that we think will turn out badly for us, or avoiding relationships, or keeping relationships for longer than we may have been meant to keep them, all because we don't want to feel what it might be like to not belong, or we don't want to be alone because we don't truly love the company we keep in the empty moments. When all along, the person that you need to love the most is the one that you see in the mirror. The relationship you need to nurture the most is the one with yourself, because that's the one that will ultimately create your experience of this life. Not any of your friends or coworkers at that party, not the love of your life, not your parents or your children, you. That's not being ego-driven or narcissistic. In fact, it's the opposite. When you have a solid, loving, full, and rich relationship with yourself, you don't need to impress anyone else. You don't need to be stoked or complimented for your fire dance moves. You don't need to land that promotion based on your bomb presentation skills and polished appearance. You don't need your online audience to view and share your video thousands of times to know that you did a good job with it. You know, without any validation from anyone else, that you are worthy. You are enough. And when you know that you have mastered the ability to feel any emotion, no matter how terrible it is in the moment, but to see it through from start to finish, you are not only acknowledging that the price of admission is to walk through the fire, you are also acknowledging your ability to do just that, and to come out on the other side knowing that you have grown so much from having had the experience, and that you live to tell about it. I don't know where that phrase came from, but did you die? Probably from a movie. Maybe from your own movie, like it is sometimes for me. But I swear, every time I hear it now, I think about feeling the hard feelings, the uncomfortable emotions. Will you die? You will not. Not from emotional pain. So the next time you find yourself in a place of fear of trying something new for the first time, fear of what other people will think or say about you, I want you to take a step back and notice. Ask yourself, what emotion am I really afraid to feel? I know this subject matter overlaps some earlier episodes, and that's by design because it's so very important. It comes up for all of us, all of the time. It underpins so much of our pain avoidance and drives our decisions. I had that dream for a reason, a reminder to be courageous. One of my favorite quotes from Tony Robbins is, "Courage doesn't mean no fear. Courage means you're scared shitless and you do it anyway." This knowledge alone gives you an edge in this life, I'm telling you. Knowing this is key to unlocking so much of your power. Learn to be okay with not feeling okay. Learn to be okay with allowing other people to form whatever opinions or judgments that they will. Remember, they're going to anyway. That's beyond your control. Learn to experience the full experience of being alive. Having fear isn't a bad thing, but having fear of feeling an emotion very often keeps us stuck, sometimes for years, sometimes for life. We waste a lot of time and energy trying to avoid things that we could just suck it up and do anyway, then laugh about later and ask, "But did you die?" Remember to be courageous. Start giving yourself some love and start having your own back when that fear sets in. Do the thing anyway, even when it's uncomfortable in the moment, and even if it means sitting with further discomfort afterward. Trust me, this is a tremendous confidence builder. Keep moving forward. That is living. Thank you for listening today. I hope this episode has helped you to further realize how this thing called life works. Managing your thoughts always enhances your experience. If this was helpful, please share with your friends and leave me a review on Apple Podcasts so that others can find this too. Follow me at Sunny the Life Coach on Facebook and Instagram. Light up and shine on.